네, 안녕하세요. 매일매일 운동하기를 실천하고 있는 동탄 왕호입니다. 오늘은 5월 4일 화요일이죠. 새벽 출근하는 첫날이었습니다. 역시 새벽 출근은 진짜 힘듭니다. 그나마 좀 덜 피곤한 게 오후 출근이 아닐까. 자, 일단은 오늘 운동을 해야 하고요. 오늘 비가 오네요. 비가 많이 왔다가 지금은 또 조금 오는 것 같은데 운동이 끝나고 분리수거를 버리고 오겠습니다. 역시 운동을 할 땐 CNN이죠. CNN.
Development on Zoom is riveting, of course, but on Monday it had a special surprise soundtrack.
I also asked this committee to support full funding for two important hydropower incentive programs within the U.S. Department of Energy's Water Power Technologies Office and established through the Energy Policy Act of 2005. Section 242
I love that she just doesn't miss a beat and she keeps going. In the Navy by the Village People was piped into the meeting because of a technical glitch, and there was more from the movie Galaxy Quest.
To ensuring Northwest Indiana residents have integrated water. All of the Army Corps of Engineers is a superhero and unparalleled, long-standing partner when it comes to facilitating economic development.
This has got to be a prank, right, Christine? The hearing continued for nearly 20 minutes before it was finally recessed to fix the technical
여기 알이
difficulties.
매겼어요.
20
내가
minutes.
뭐 했다고 여기 알이
Was the
매겼지?
lawmaker like watching the movie in the middle of the thing and the audio? Okay, I don't know what happened.
You know there's a backstory there. We have to
And
investigate.
in the Navy, YMCA gets all of the attention, right? And the wedding party circuit, but in the Navy is a good song. All right. Thanks for joining us. I'm Christine Romans.
I'm Laura Jarrett. New Day is next.
NIH and the president for them to bring initiative with the next generation tools and technology. It also has the ability to interact with the Department of Education.
Inside Africa in association with Zenith Bank.
For jazz musicians the world over, in-person collaboration is instrumental to what they do. So, when the coronavirus pandemic led to lockdowns, some refused to let up, embracing technology to keep the momentum rolling.
Suddenly the calendar was empty, you know, and I had a lot of creative energy built up for these tours. There were about 6 tours in total that I had planned for 2020, and I decided to channel that creative energy I had stored up for these tours and stuff into just creating new projects.
Imagine we could create a web of connectivity of operating rooms all around the world.
If you invent something, that will be there forever.
I see 3D printing and drone technology helping us to address the gaps that we have in healthcare delivery.
I'm Nikki Shields for CNN's Saved by the Future, where we see how today's inventors are engineering medical marvels for tomorrow and beyond.
Saved by the Future, Saturday on CNN in association with Hyundai.
It's one of the greatest albums ever made.
There's too many of you cry.
Marvin Gaye's groundbreaking What's Going On.
His melodies were like a voice of pride.
It was the first time that I understood poetry.
50 years later, why is it an anthem for a new generation?
There's prophecy, man.
What do you think Marvin would think about what's going on?
A CNN special, What's Going On, Monday on CNN.
I'm Clarissa Ward in New Delhi, and this is CNN.
is all about making connections. But some connections are easier to make than others. With a CNN partner hotel, the world is always at your fingertips. CNN partner hotels, connected to your world. No holds barred.
Out front tonight, hypocrite in chief. So let me just put it to you straight, Senator. Senate Democrats, they're getting their butts kicked.
No nonsense.
Are you simply shooting the messenger because you don't like the message?
Facts first.
How stupid do you think we are? Allies in Washington are covering for him, and they shouldn't get away with it.
Because getting to the truth matters.
The Washington Post went and confirmed the date of that hearing, so you're telling me unless I go back in the time capsule, you're not going to believe it.
Aaron Burnett out front, Tuesday to Saturday on CNN.
I'm Sam Kiley in Delhi, and this is CNN.
Hello, I'm Brianna Keeler in Washington alongside John Berman in New York. On this new day, a significant turn in the race to vaccinate a nation. What the data is set to approve that could change the game. Plus, Liz Cheney declares war on her own party, making it clear if she's going down for criticizing Donald Trump and the big lie, she's going down swinging.
DC apparently bans dancing at weddings in COVID restrictions. We'll speak with a bride-to-be who's holding out for a hero. And Bill Gates could lose half his wealth in his divorce and still be rich enough to own, well, everything. We'll examine the billion-dollar breakup.
Plans to authorize the Pfizer vaccine for children and teenagers between the ages of 12 and 15 by next week. Right now, Pfizer and Moderna are both testing their vaccines in children as young as 6 months. They expect to ask the FDA for emergency use authorization covering infants and younger children later this year.
This is a huge development for millions of American families like mine, as they prepare for the upcoming school year. I was driving with one of my sons when the news came out yesterday. His reaction was awesome. It comes as the pace of vaccinations in the United States is slowing down at just over 2 million shots a day. CNN's Elizabeth Cohen joins us this morning. Elizabeth, really tell us everything. How safe do we know the Pfizer vaccine is for kids? How effective? When might they get it in their arms?
John, all I can really do is quote your son. Awesome. This is indeed an awesome move, not just for those children. He's very eloquent. Not just for those children, but also for families. In my family, only our 14-year-old is unvaccinated. When the 6 of us go out, we have to rethink how to do things because 5 of us are and 1 of us isn't. So this is really a game changer. So let's look at the data that is behind what is expected to be this authorization that's expected to happen soon. Pfizer did a phase 3 trial, a clinical trial, with more than 2,200 children ages 12 to 15 and found it was 100% effective and well tolerated. In other words, there were no safety issues. Pfizer is still testing in children ages 6 months to 11 years. Now, when that comes, there's going to be a little, that's a little bit, that will take a little bit more work. With the older children, they didn't call in, the FDA didn't call in their outside experts. They just are going to authorize it without going to those experts. For the younger children, they will call in that advisory committee to look at that data. John?
All right, Elizabeth Cohen, thank you very much. Obviously, this is something that I care a ton about. I've got 2 14-year-olds at home, and it changes the way you think about things, right? If they're vaccinated along with my wife and me, it really does change things.
It does, because the guidance is if you're going to say see your neighbor, see your family, if you want to meet up and you're all vaccinated. I have little kids, so I'll be waiting a little while longer. But it really does make you worry, as we have for not worried about kids for a while. So it's huge news. Awesome.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, eloquent, which he gets from his father. but look, I mean, seriously, we haven't been overly worried that they would get very sick because the numbers don't bear that out. But you are concerned they could be vectors, right? You are concerned they could pass it on to other people. They've had to quarantine once because of soccer. Hopefully that will never happen again. So a big deal. Couldn't be more exciting.
Yeah, back to normal, very exciting. And now to the growing civil war within the Republican Party. A GOP source telling CNN that House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy is furious with Congresswoman Liz Cheney, who, by the way, is chair of the House Conference. She is the #3 Republican in House leadership. On Monday, Cheney refused to back off from criticizing Donald Trump's election lies. She called it poison for the democratic system. Joining us now is former Republican Congressman and presidential candidate Joe Walsh. Joe, this is very interesting because Liz Cheney survived a recent purge attempt. She might not survive another one. If she is out, does it weaken her or does it weaken the House GOP?
Hey, Brianna, great to be with you, and I haven't had the opportunity yet to congratulate you on your new gig here. Look, before we get into the machinations of and what's going to happen to Liz Cheney, Brianna, think about what we're talking about. Liz Cheney's going to lose her position in leadership. That's clear. It's a matter of days or a week or two. She's going to be penalized for speaking the truth. I mean, think about that. Think about where the Republican Party is. Liz Cheney is going to be penalized for speaking the truth. Now, her problem, Brianna, is every single one of those cowards in that Republican conference, they agree with Liz Cheney privately. They know the election wasn't stolen. They don't believe Donald Trump's big lie. But their problem is Liz Cheney's problem. And it's what I hear every day. All the Republicans back home in their district, they believe the lie. That's what this is all about.
So what you're saying, Joe, is that basically the big lie is a necessary ticket for admission now into Republican leadership. She's being penalized, as you say, merely for speaking the truth, saying the least controversial thing on earth, which is the election was not stolen.
John, yeah, you're exactly right. Think how surreal this is. Right? If you, to be viable in today's Republican Party, you have to lie. You have to commit to the big lie, the undemocratic lie that the 2020 election was stolen. But again, John, here's the problem. It always comes down to Republican voters. I hear from thousands of Republican voters every day. It won't surprise you two, but they all believe the lie. That's what Trump wanted. He got it. He got his lie. And this is what Republican members are hearing every day. I stand with Liz Cheney and I respect the hell out of her, but there's no room in this Republican Party for her. It's sad.
So Joe, where do people go then? Where do politicians like a Liz Cheney or a Mitt Romney or candidates who do not believe in the big lie, or TBL as I shorthanded my notes because I have to use it so often, where do voters who don't believe in this go if they agree with traditional conservative ideology? You know, they're not going to flock, you would think, to the Democratic Party. Where do they go?
Well, Brianna, that's the great question. And I wish not you two, but I wish so many people in the media would stop talking about the divided Republican Party. The split in the Republican Party. It's not divided. It pains me to say this. There's no split. It's Trump's party. It's the big lie party. So Liz Cheney, Mitt Romney, look, where do you go? They couldn't get elected to anything in this Republican Party. So they have to leave. They have to hang out as an independent if they can for a while. Maybe join the Democratic Party. Maybe, Brianna, there will be a movement to start a reasonable third party, because the Republican Party is a shrinking party. I mean, most Americans believe in the truth and know that the election wasn't stolen, but it's reality. It was a tough place for me to face a year ago. Liz Cheney's facing that same reality right now.
And let's be clear, this isn't a conservative liberal thing. I mean, Liz Cheney is as conservative as they come. Her Republican credentials on policy, couldn't be more solid. But just to be clear, Joe, you think she's gone? You think she's gone from leadership? You think she might even be gone from her seat in Wyoming?
She's done. There's no way, John, she can hang on to her position in leadership. I've spoken to enough people privately to know that, and I know what these Republicans are receiving every single day. I think Liz Cheney, John, knows that her position in leadership is gone, which is why I give her so much respect. As Brianna said at the top, doggone it, she's going to go out swinging. If Liz Cheney is up next year against a credible primary opponent, John, in today's climate, there's no way she can win a primary. 90% of Republican Party voters are with Trump, and they believe the lie.
One of the things I just find so absurd and disturbing about what we see happening, especially in the House GOP, Joe, is that there are many Republicans who do not believe the big lie, even though they propagate the big lie. So they're basing, they're living a lie, politically speaking, and I just wonder how sustainable that really is, because they don't actually believe it.
Brianna, they don't believe it. And again, I respect they're cowards. They know, damn near every Republican in the House knows that election wasn't stolen, but they cannot say that publicly. And Liz Cheney, they want to be rid of Liz Cheney because she's forcing them every day. When she speaks the truth every day, she forces these cowards, her fellow colleagues, to look in the mirror every day and look at themselves. But again, Kevin McCarthy, who I served with, he knows the drill, he knows the deal. He wants to be speaker, and he knows where Republican voters are at. It's absurd, but it's really tragic.
Joe, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
So this is very much connected. Tomorrow, Facebook will announce its decision on whether Donald Trump will remain suspended from the platform as he continues to push the big election lie. He did it just yesterday. Joining me now, CNN's senior media